basically the player recruitment coordinator. So all the parents I probably spoke to on the phone. It's good to match the voices with the faces. We're very glad that you brought your sons out to play in this game. We have this year we have some premium players. This is our fourth year. It's my third year being involved. It's my third year being involved. We have players that's probably could be their second year. We really appreciate you. This year we recruited some players. We have kids coming from who have committed from Stanford, Princeton, Berkeley, Cal Poly, UCLA, and Arizona State, several other schools. In the past we've moved our event into September. It was in October, and we were conflicting with all the other big camps in Jupiter and Arizona. Our kids love going there. We're trying to compete. We're not trying to compete, but we're trying to get to that level. Okay? And it's an opportunity for our players when they're on the bench tomorrow. When they look to the left and right, they're going to see people who look like them. And when they look across the field, they're going to see players who look like them. And I know when they're in Jupiter, when they're in Arizona, there's usually one or two of them. So this shows them exactly who is out there, who they're competing against, and they are the future of the game. Okay? 'Cause it's really, what is it now? The percentage of
the percentage of African American players for the first time this year dropped below 6%, 5.85.
Yeah, and that is very important for you guys, and we're very happy that you guys are continuing playing the game. But I just want to say thank you. Whoever isn't familiar, tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Sac State. These young men will be playing great games. We've been able to separate the rosters. Last 2 years, I think we went into extra innings, and so you probably be competing against players that were in your high school. I try to make sure that you guys are an opposite team, so when you get back to school, you guys can have one up on them, or you're one down. So, but again, thanks for everybody coming, and a lot of food over there. We have a little wine tasting in the corner. We spend a lot of money. I'd like to bring up the gentleman who was underwriting this right quick. This gentleman is underwriting. He's responsible for having us here in the venue, for all the food that you guys are eating today. Just please announce your name and just thank you.
Actually, I don't need to announce my name. I just want to thank all of you for everything you do, everything you have done for the sport of baseball, the sport of basketball. All right. And to all the kids playing, hey, have a great game tomorrow and have fun.
So thank you.
And next I'd like to bring up a gentleman that met me at my first event and said he wanted to help get involved and help me out. And let me tell you, he's helped me out tremendously. Quinn Gregory.
Thanks very much. What we wanted to do and what my idea was when I first talked to Todd was not only make this a high-level showcase for Sacramento, but also to honor the history of Sacramento along with the history of Negro League baseball and the rich history we have here, and address other things. You'll notice on the flyer, it's in little words, it says, "and health fair." So we also want to do some other things with this game. When you're uplifting a community, you're uplifting a certain cause, you also want to include other things that make sense. You know, health equity, services in the community that are available to people for health, mental health, housing insecurities, food insecurity. You want to address all those types of things, and that's what we're trying to do from a public health aspect as well as a sports aspect. There's a nexus between the two. You have to be healthy to play sports. You have to be healthy to thrive in your community, and those are some of the things we're trying to do with my foundation, Sierra Community Medical Foundation, and Todd's group, Perfect Game Pitching Solutions. So we come together, and that's the bigger picture. You'll see some vendors out there, some different groups tomorrow that have some different information. Everything from, you know, fentanyl education. Everyone knows, heard of fentanyl. You've heard of all the issues that are going on in our community. So we plan to address some of those things as well through the vehicle of baseball and through this incredible celebration of what we're doing to honor the history of Negro League baseball and the history of baseball in Sacramento. If it wasn't for, you know, people like Dusty Baker and our coaches and the Royster family and Jerry Manuel just making huge strides in and with Major League Baseball. As we mentioned, there's a disparity, and we want to address that at least from a local level to make sure that young men have the opportunity to excel in baseball and in life. And so that's what we're trying to do with this game, is make it even bigger than just a game. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The next gentleman I'd like to bring up, he's been with me for this event all 4 years. I've known him forever. He's considered family to me. He's going to be our stadium announcer. Would you please welcome Mr. Leon Lee?
Thanks, Todd. Thanks, everybody. I wasn't expecting to get up here, but it's really an honor and a pleasure to be involved in a game of this nature, especially as a reunion for when you talk about African-American players. You know, you have the great Vaughn. I mean, we have Bob Kendrick here from the Negro League Museum from Kansas City. It's just a great pleasure. Bill Cartwright, I knew when he could jump. And I mean, especially when I went out and played pro ball years ago, and I have joy in announcing this game, and I like to say it because coming out of Sacramento, when I signed with the St. Louis Cardinals, I told people when I was playing in the minor leagues in St. Louis Cardinals, it was not even close to the competition that we played here in Sacramento. The Roysters are like family. I mean, rolling off is Dusty. Dusty was a better player than he was a manager, but he'll go in the Hall of Fame as a manager. You got Jerry Manuel. I mean, it's just on and on here with the people here, and I'll leave names out that they know I love them. Fernando Vina. I mean, I'm going down the line. But Sacramento, the reason I enjoy even being a little part of it, announcing this game, is being able to be around the people that are in this room, because recognizing the old Negro Leagues, and I'll tell a real quick story. When I was playing AAA ball in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I ran into Satchel Paige. And Satchel would tell us the history, but it wasn't a good history all the time. It was painful. The things that these guys had to go through, what it represents and what they had to fight for to get here. Dennis Biddle sitting right here, he could tell me if I'm telling an untruth. But these guys sacrificed, but they had fun playing the game. And Satchel told me about this. So we had a guy named Jerry Manuel and Larry Herndon who could really run. They could run. So Satchel Paige said, if you want to hear about fast, let me tell you about Cool Papa Bell. He said Cool Papa Bell came to the plate, got in the batter's box, boom, and hit a line drive right up the middle. And the ball hit him in the head when he was sliding in the second base. Now, Satchel said, now that's fast. So I said, I couldn't argue any more about anybody being fast. They talk about turning the light on and getting the baby before it got dark. But I had never seen anybody get hit a line drive up the middle and slide in the second. we had a guy named Taylor Duncan. We had Jerry and Royster that roll, and these guys could run. And all I did was hang around them because I couldn't run. They told me I looked like a man running underwater. But if I hung around those guys, they thought I was fast. So tomorrow's game signifies so much history of Sacramento baseball. We had more, for you young guys, back in our day, we had more guys drafted out of Sacramento than any other city in the country per capita. And all we did was try to follow Dusty, my brother Leron, Bob Oliver, all these guys. We became good. So then my age, we tried to set an example for the great Vaughn and those guys. But here, tomorrow, guys, get out here, enjoy the game, have fun. This is baseball. Thank you.
The next gentleman I want to bring up, very important to what we do here. He's definitely part of the family. 2 years ago, his family participated with the Lee family. Not only is he a 16-year veteran, the real cool thing about this young gentleman is in 1975, when he was with the Los Angeles Dodgers, he was told that he was traded to the Atlanta Braves. But you happen to know who he was traded for? He's in this room today. His name is Mr. Dusty Baker. So please, Jerry, Royster, would you please come on up?
Shoot, I thought you were talking about Willie Mays or something. Hey, what an occasion. I mean, this is awesome. I came here a couple years ago and I was one of the host coaches. And this is a little smaller event than it is now. But what this is turning into is very special. Sacramento is very special. We've had a history that you've heard people talk about tonight, but the people that are here, that are in this room tonight, especially for you guys that are playing tomorrow. I mean, you guys are hanging around Sacramento Elite. This is it. There's a few guys missing, but there ain't very many guys missing. And you look at the list of major league players and coaches and managers that have come from Sacramento. It's just amazing. We've set records. We've got things in the Hall of Fame. There was 5 of us that were managers at the same time. I was fortunate enough to be one of them. It's in the Hall of Fame. We got Dusty going in the Hall of Fame in 2027. Can I get a shout out? Dusty back there. We got my cousin Greg Vaughn. I mean, my quick story is in our family, we have over 400 home runs in my family. Greg's got 360 of them. But all of us, everybody that you've heard the names of today, I mean, we played other sports. Sacramento's just rich in athletics, period. Not just, men, women, girls, boys. It's been amazing with some of the feats that have happened. We're represented very well tonight by our Sacramento Sports Hall of Fame. Obviously, baseball is leading the way, but we got Bill Cartwright who went in early, and I'm only mentioning his name because I need him to sign my basketball for me. But I'm just telling you, Sacramento, you youngins that are playing tomorrow, believe me, you'll be up here, standing up here just like I am, talking about Sacramento because you love the sport. I know that I met a couple of kids that are from Oakland and some other. This is getting huge. But one of the kids told me, I told him that his he told me that his cousin, I think it was his cousin, is a two-way player. He's really good in his own right, but he said his cousin's a two-way player. And I said, there's only one really true two-way player, and that's Shohei Ohtani. And he gave me a look like, wait till you see my cousin. So So it was a funny story, but it's just amazing what can be accomplished when you look back, especially on a lot of our careers and where we came from and what we did. Like, we weren't fighting to be Major League Baseball players. We were just out there playing. We're just kids showing up at the schoolyards, playing, climbing fences, breaking into places so we could play ball. It turns out that, whether it was basketball or baseball or whatever it was, it all turned out good for us. I mean, I appreciate a lot of you guys are here because I asked you to come. A lot of people that are here that Danny and Todd and Quinn asked you to come. I'm just glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad you're able to experience it. I don't know if there'll be another one like this. We hope there is, but this is pretty special.
So the first coach I would like to bring up, as far as it goes in the community, there's no nicer guy that continues to give. Him and his wife both have their facility. They run one of the top ladies softball programs here in Sacramento. This gentleman was drafted by the San Francisco Giants. He also played with the New York Yankees and the Chicago Cubs. He's one of Dusty Baker's favorite kids. May I please welcome Mr. Thomas Neal. When I first started this event 4 years ago, I reached out to this young man, and he told me he wasn't worthy. I kept telling him he is worthy. The next year, I reached out to this young man. I said, I need you. He said, I'm not worthy. I said, you are worthy. Last year, I did the same thing. This year, I said, you're not going anywhere. You are too important to the Sacramento community. The kids look up to you. You are a Major League ball player. Plus, I believe Dusty Baker and you are extremely good friends and you communicate all the time. He's here for you. You're here for the community. I just want to say thank you very much. And thank you for being a coach.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm really looking forward to getting out here with these young men, passing whatever knowledge that I can, that I've learned from some of these gentlemen that are in the room, the Leon Lees, the Dusty Bakers. I look forward to having conversations with men and videos in the world. I'm really excited to be a part of something so special. It seems that this project continues to get bigger and bigger every year. I'm just glad I finally said yes and I'm able to be a part of it. I'm really looking forward to watching this new wave of talent come up and enjoy tomorrow.
Next gentleman too has been trying to hide, but we finally locked him in as well. He's an 8-year veteran, right? He also, he's a 9-year veteran for the Major League Baseball. His first ever big league hit was a home run. Right? How many people can say their first big league hit was a home run? But the cool thing that I must say about this young man is, ever since that day, every time he had the opportunity in the batter's box, he had this approach of, I'm getting on base. He was one of the best pinch hitters in Major League Baseball. So from his first at bat being a home run to being one of the most reliable pinch hitters in Major League Baseball, please welcome Mr. Ricky Jordan. And I know you two, you're shy, you don't want to come up here and talk. But your son, he played with the Sacramento Ends. I wish he could be here tonight just to round everything up. But what you've always done for the community, you were with me and the Twins back, in the early 2000s. You've always been there for me. Your time, growing up there in the brotherly love, the city of brotherly love. How'd that city treat you?
First of all, I want to say appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to come out. I know you've been doing this for 4 years, and kind of moved the schedule back a little bit, I heard, so I can get out here. So that's pretty good. I thank you for allowing that. But as far as Philadelphia, great fans when you're doing well. When you're doing bad, they let you know. And I just want to say a little thing. So 2 years ago, Dusty was in town playing him in the World Series. So I showed up at the World Series. And of course, I had on a Philly hat and whatever. And I went down and talked to Dusty on the field. Philly said, "Any homeboy, what you doing with that Philly hat on? You know you got to put on Houston." I said, "Dusty, I'm rooting for your homeboy, but I can't show these fans that I'm rooting for you." But as far as Philly, they're great fans. I love being out there with them, had a great time with them, and I appreciate the opportunity to Philly draft and to get a chance to play again.
The one thing that a lot of people don't know is the man is truly one of the best pitch hitters. His approach was one of the best in the league. Whenever he was in the box, he made sure that he took full advantage of being in that plate. Not only beating 1 year with doubles, but the guy is just aggressive when he's on the bases, and that's really what the Negro Leagues are about. So these kids, the kids players that are coming in, the first thing I told them is, I need you to be you, how you play on the field, don't be shy. This league, the Negro Leagues, are very aggressive. We play small ball, we play smart, and we play like professionals, no matter what the age is. And that's what Ricky has always done. He's been one of the ultimate professionals here in Major League Baseball. I keep trying to tell these guys that Sacramento is one of the largest and best places if you're going to be a ball player. We love the ball players that come from Sacramento. Everybody here appreciates you, Ricky. They love you, and I want to thank you so much for finally agreeing and coming out. You are truly one of a kind, my friend. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And tomorrow, all the young fellas are going to get out there and have a good time, have some fun, and show out a little bit. Let's show them a little something out there, all right?
It seems like everybody here tonight was, the first go-around I went after every single one of these gentlemen, but they're all so humble. It really makes me so happy, and I'm touched by them all being here tonight. And the next gentleman I want to come up, he's one of the shyest around. Even though he does a couple of young ones out in the community, he has a couple of players here like Vaughn. You can work with him in the Elk Grove area. But the next gentleman, he's a 12-year veteran. In 1998, he was a National League All-Star, two-time Gold Glove winner. The man with hands and feet had 116 stolen bases. The cool thing about this guy is he was the first Major League player to hit the first inside the park home run at AT&T Park in San Francisco. And to top it, he's also the first player to hit an inside the park home run at Miller Park in Milwaukee. Please welcome Fernando Vina. The one reason why I wanted to get him out first is, the Negro Leagues is all about the black and brown athlete. And Fernando's parents migrated from Cuba. And you know the struggle just, from Cuba to get to the United States, no matter what way. It is a definite struggle for them to make it way here, for their children to have a better life. It's just absolutely phenomenal. But the cool thing about it is everybody knows the Cuban ball player was one of the fastest, most aggressive ball players around. Their national sport is baseball. And we have some of the great likes of Minnie Minoso, right? And, he's one of probably the best Cuban baseball player. And I just want to thank you so much, Fernando, for you coming out here and doing this with us. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be part of the Honorary Negro League baseball game. I mean, they did so much to pave the way for me and all of us here. They opened the door. That's what it's all about. Just wanted an opportunity. And as far as my parents go, they gave me an opportunity. My dad was caught 3 times trying to leave Cuba. They left on a boat. My brother and my sister were both born there, and my mom was pregnant with me when they finally got out the 3rd time, and he was treated badly when he got caught. So to go 90 miles in the shark-infested waters and to make it to Key West and give us an opportunity I'm grateful for. So that means a lot to me in my heart. And, it's a little sad too because I lost my dad 6 months ago and you know, it hurts a little bit, but working with kids and being part of this and making a difference. If I can make a difference in kids' lives and be part of it. I learned so much throughout the game, throughout my life, from Hall of Famers, from Dusty Baker, from, I mean, you name it. Mr. Lee, Greg Vaughn helped me so much, Ricky Jordan. So many people helped me go along this route and gave me so much, so if I can give it back to these kids, that's what it's all about for me. That's what makes me feel really good in my heart.
Exactly. That's the the importance of family. As you can tell, everything that his parents did for that family is just so much respectful. And I'm sorry to hear about your father. I know I was young. We used to play together. I was your brother's age, but he was the younger kid, but he always dominated us older guys when we were ever playing outside. He's just a pure athlete. So in order to, like I said, to have people like this finally agree to come out here, it's all because they feel like they're not worthy. All these gentlemen here, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to 916 baseball, they're all royalty. And they should be recognized for what they do because they constantly give, but nobody knows. And I know that's the way they want it, but it's my job, Quinn, Danny's, everybody's here, and what we do in this Negro League community to make sure every voice is heard, every voice is there, and nobody's going to be forgotten. Because as far as it goes, if it wasn't for the Negro Leagues and the minority baseball players, there would not be Major League Baseball, period. So the Negro Leagues are extremely important for what has happened in Major League Baseball. So
thank you. Thank you very much.
This gentleman played many years in the Negro Leagues. He was considered, the youngest and is the youngest living Negro League player right now. He's been involved with this all 4 years in some sort of capacity. He's from Milwaukee in Wisconsin. He was just at Miller Park where they honored him for the Negro League event that was at Rickwood Field. They honored Mr. Dennis Biddle from the Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago American Giants.
Sit down. First of all, I would like to give honor to the good Lord for giving me an opportunity to be here. Thank you, Todd. This is a great honor. And my wife is with me. I'd like to introduce Patrice Biddle. Stand up, Mike. This is my backbone. This is the lady that keep me going. In 1995, I was invited to the Negro League Baseball Museum in Kansas City. And as I approached the hall where all the guys were sitting, I heard the word say, "Kid, kid, there's the kid, there's the kid." And this is what they called me when I came to the league. Right out of high school in 1953, I was 17 years old, and they called me the kid. I had an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. I played 2 years in the Negro League, but I had that opportunity before I got injured. I had the opportunity to play with and against some of the greatest baseball players that ever played the game. With that, I'm saying this. Everybody heard of Sacramento State, Johnny Gutman, Group Officer, all those great players. But ladies and gentlemen, there are some players that got no notoriety. It was just as good. I have to say this because this is why in 1996, along with Mr. Sherwood Brewer, we organized an organization called Yesterday's Negro League Baseball Players Foundation. The foundation was set up to recognize those men
those great baseball players, they got little or no recognition at all. And for the last 28 years, I have advocated for those players. And June, to get benefits for them also. June the 22nd of this year, the commissioner made the announcement that players that played in the Negro League less than 4 years will now get the Major League Game, some benefits. This is something that I advocated for over 28 years, and finally, it happened. There's so much about things that happen in our day. I wrote a book, 2 books. The first book called Secrets of the Negro Baseball League. There you will find things that the historians, the writers, never talked about. And the reason they didn't even know what was happening. They went by what they could read in newspapers and what they heard from some of the guys. But I have you to know, the Negro League team could not afford a statistician to travel with the team. A lot of our history to this day has not been revealed. And I just want to say that secrets, the title of my book is Secrets of the Negro Baseball League. And there you'll find a lot of things that the historians and the writers didn't even write about because they didn't even know. So thank you, Todd, for this opportunity, honoring us. Remember yesterday's Negro League Baseball Players Foundation represents the living players of the Negro Baseball. Thank you, and may God bless all.
Noticed somebody walked in and I can't let him go unannounced. But this gentleman, he was with me the very first year at Rayleigh Field when we put this event on. He helped coach with Vaughn. He's an 8-year major league veteran. He played 3 years in the Japanese leagues. But the crazy thing, in 1990, in the NLCS, this guy was a beast in those 6 games. Yeah, the Pittsburgh Pirates, with him and Barry Vaughn, they really gave the Big Red Machine a run for their money. Please, would you please welcome Mr. R.J. Reynolds. Him and Greg Vaughn, joined me the first year, and just like everybody else, it's difficult to have these guys, want to help because they're going to get their kudos. I think these men and gentlemen need to get all the kudos they can for not only what they've done, but what they give back. And he's done the same thing. He's worked with Neal for a long time. He continually, in Oakland as well here in Sacramento, he travels to give personal and private pitching lessons. I just want to say thank you what you do for the community, and thank you for being here again.
We definitely don't pitch. I'm just happy to be here. I'm only doing what I was taught to do. Dave Stewart, Justin Baker, that's my daddy over there. I don't show up too many times, but they say Justine's gonna be there. I know I gotta show up. Leon came in Japan and helped me out there. That was a rough time. Couldn't carry my hands up. But for the most part, I enjoy kids. I was a kid once. Maybe still am for a little bit, but I was a kid and with not a lot of opportunity. And I told this story before. I come out of a Pentecostal church and everybody's waiting on the rapture. So I didn't really have many avenues. I didn't have many avenues. You leave me alone back there, Dan. But there were people in Sacramento, because baseball was so major in the city, there was always somebody giving me an opportunity to play. And we didn't have a whole lot of money, but they was always picking me up and bringing me home. I wasn't a bad kid, I was just a little mischievous, but I knew how to act when I left home. But I was always able to play, and there was always somebody looking out. There were people watching you when you didn't know one was watching you. And that was the best part about Sacramento. My dad had a lot to do with that as far as influence. My dad was an exceptional athlete, and a lot of the OGs in here, they knew my dad. And I just happened to be named after him, and I kind of walk like him, I guess. But those are the opportunities that were given because of people gave me the opportunities. And I try to give it back. The best part about it is my love for baseball, it came, I don't know, it came, I couldn't play basketball no more, so I walked on the baseball field and found out that I really loved this game. I didn't know anything about it, but I had teachers. I had Dusty, he was always in my behind. But it needed to be, because, you know, Dodgers ain't nothing to play with. But he taught me how to be a professional. So what I do now is I give hitting lessons. I think I know more about hitting than what I did when I played. And kids, I don't know if you understand, but you have a gift. You have a gift now. You have a gift. Now you have young men like Thomas Neal, people that are willing to teach you something. That when we played, we didn't have all this. You could hit or you couldn't hit. And extra hitting meant you just had a guy throwing your BP for 5 minutes at 4 o'clock in the morning. But nobody give you no lessons. So what we try to give you is more like try to see how far you can go with your talent. Also, how far you can stay. What kind of man are you? What kind of young lady are you? How you do well in school? Are you respectful? Because that's what we're really coaching. We're coaching an individual, trying to find out who they are. That's what we want to manage. So I've learned a lot, but I've had great teachers. And like I said, when Dusty says show up, I show up. Okay? A lot of you are here that did a lot for me. You were there in the beginning, you were there, the hardest part was in the end. Trying to find my way back to something that I love, and knowing that I was never going to get back there, but I had to find something that I enjoyed. And I enjoy teaching kids. And so it's kind of like my church. You know, it is what it is for me. You know, we don't just talk about it, we talk about everything else. And I want to make sure that when you go somewhere, you don't come back. A lot of us go somewhere and we're not used to certain things. You know, you come back because you're not used to being outside of your neighborhood. I play baseball and I can walk anywhere in this world because of baseball. It gave me a sense of being who I am. I can walk in with my shoulders back, my head up high. So what do you say? Baseball has been very, very good to me. And thank you very much.
This next gentleman is very dear to me in my heart. He's been with me for a long time, supported everything I've done. I can't thank this guy enough, and I can't wait to get him up here to speak. He's a 14-year Major League vet, 4-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger Award winner. Him and Jerry Manuel teamed up with me the first year, and ever since then, this thing has just been taken off. Would you please welcome Mr. Vaughn?
Wow, I thought I had to do this 4 years ago. I didn't know I was doing it today.
Maybe we'll keep that going. The cool thing is, you know, Greg too was with Dennis Biddle back in Milwaukee and involved with the Rick Wood field event, and I can't thank you enough for being here.
Oh, thank you. The Biddles for including me and my team, and you know, we had a great time, and it was well deserved. And once again, can we give it up to Dennis Biddle for his justice? Like RJ went to Kennedy, I went to Kennedy. RJ came back and he had a big influence on my life, like in the offseason. Dusty's always been there. I call him Godfather, my Godfather, he's been there. Uncle Herbert's gonna turn 94 tomorrow. He's sitting over there, he's been a big influence. My cousin Jerry, back then Danny was still playing, and like I said, me and Ricky Jordan in the same class.
And that Graham High School was something else, man. I thought we were pretty good at South Sac. There was something else over there. But I also want to say Lavelle Freeman. For you guys that think you can hit, Lavelle Freeman can hit. Lavelle Freeman.
Lavelle, where you at?
Yeah, where's Lavelle? He's probably talking. Where's Freeman? Where's Freeman? He's talking.
There's another one that's shy.
No, he's not shy. So, but Lavelle could really hit. You know, and this man hit 398 in one season in AA baseball. 398, and 30 home runs, and 100-some RBIs. So we don't know why he didn't get his just due, but I mean, if you think you're doing something, put up those numbers, and then you might be doing a little something. You know what I mean? Because this man deserves to be in the big leagues. He's my big brother, same neighborhood. I mean, Free has meant the world to me. And like I said, he had a nickname at 12. It was called Freeway. Because if you miss with a pitch, he's going to put it on the freeway. So I mean, that's how he can hit. And Nando, I mean, it's awesome. South Sac, I mean, Nando lived with me his rookie year. I mean, that's my guy. You know what I mean? Sacramento, this is what we do. You know, we look after one another. Somehow it was inbred, and that was taught. So it's not like, it is an obligation, but it's a willing obligation. You know what I mean? So you guys small, you guys have the opportunity between today and tomorrow to get as much knowledge as you can. Be a sponge. Be a sponge. Take advantage of these opportunities. Like I said, I was going, I love football. That was my sport. I went to see my cousin Jerry play in San Francisco, and I walked in Candlestick and went in the locker room with him in the Roman office. And it was like 7-11. I said, you get all this for getting in the big league? So it felt pretty good not to get hit a couple times. Then I decided to play baseball. So, I mean, there's so many people in there that made a difference. It's an honor to have my son Corey here. You know, he's here. You know, he played. You know, he's a fireman. But you guys have a wealth of knowledge in this room. Take advantage of it. Be a sponge, man. Because you're going to need it. Once you think you have it all figured out, you're probably going to have to get a job. I'm just saying. Because I'm still learning. I'm still evolving. So, you know, take advantage of it. Todd, thank you for everything you do for Sacramento and our kids. They look like me and Fernando and everyone else in this room. Because you're a special person. And it's an honor to be part of it. And thank you guys for coming out.
So this gentleman here in Sacramento, he's only referred to as one thing. It's spelt with 4 letters. It's G period, O period, A period, T period. He played 7 years as a player, 9 years as a manager, has over 700 wins. May I please introduce Mr. Jerry Manuel.
Where you going? See, I can say that to him.
As you can see, just top-class gentlemen everywhere in this room. It's just unbelievable. You know, Jerry has been working with the Sacramento kids for a long time. He has the Jerry Manuel Foundation that he had. That was going on for a very long time, and tons of talented kids come out of there. They were so talented that the very first year I did this at Rayleigh Field, he brought his high school team onto the field to compete. I didn't have Danny back there. I didn't have Quinn to get the players. So I was like, you're going to supply a whole team? Fabulous. I only need to find one team. Half the player at that time, I was coaching at Cosumnes River College. So half the players were college players. There were very little high school players on my team. Most of those players came from Kennedy High School, where I coached before I went over to Consumers River. And let me tell you, right from the get, Jerry Manuel's team just came right out, took the lead, and made those college kids have to work. They struggled to get back into the game, and they kept saying in that Monarchs dugout, we can't let those boys beat us. We can't let those boys beat us. They did come back and win, but it went to extra innings. I must say, what you do for the community, what you do for the kids, and many players that you touched with Major League Baseball developed. I mean, even this year in the draft, there was 3 gentlemen in the first round that were drafted that you personally touched. I must say, thank you very much. But when I was putting the teams together, I wanted to use the two most well-known teams in the Negro Leagues, and that was the Kansas City Monarchs and the Homestead Braves. So I wanted Greg Vaughn and his son to coach the Monarchs, and I wanted Jerry and his son to go ahead and coach the Grays. And he said, Todd, I want to help you, I want to be there, but I don't want to coach the Grays. I said, you don't? Can I coach the Atlanta Black Crackers? And I'm going, you can coach any team you want. It's just I want to use teams that people heard of. That was a special team, but you know, the name out there, not too many people are familiar with. He goes, that's because my dad played for him. Tell us a little about those Atlanta Black Crackers.
Yeah, my dad happened to be a pitcher with the Atlanta Black Crackers, but he was like a pitcher that was on loan. You know, when they come by the house, say we need Mr. Manuel to come pitch for us. So he would get in the car, drive to Birmingham, Rickwood Field, which is what we did with our kids in the Major League Baseball Youth Development Program. They played at the Rickwood Park, which is a park that my father had played with. You know, so that was my introduction to baseball. Him as a pitcher and what have you, and to see that type of excitement in the black community. I mean, we had the things that were staples at that time in our community was religion. We had to go to church. Fashion. We could dress and dance and baseball. That's what I grew up with. Those things were staples in the black community, and what kind of brought us together.
And one of the big things that are happening with Major League Develop is the great thing is, you know, his son Anthony, right, and as well as Jerry Jr. Jerry is the founder and clothing designer of Fear of God, as well as his other son also was a ball player throughout Major League Baseball, but both of them continue to work with the youth organizations through MLB Develops. You can see Anthony all over social media going around and helping the kids, and there's nothing better when you have a whole family, especially an iconic, one of the best and biggest families here in Sacramento that are constantly given to the youth community.
Thank you. You good with me?
He didn't want to come up. I forced him to go ahead and get up. I just want to say, Jerry, you are the GOAT. I want to thank you everything for Sacramento.
You know what?
I appreciate
You know what? You got 1,000 goats in here. That's
oh,
the biggest goat
absolutely.
right there.
Yes, for sure.
1,000 goats in here. Thank you. Chicago. Me, you, and Dusty. We had Chicago, right? We sure did. Not long ago. Well, Sacramento, that's pretty.
And for this next special guest, I must say he's very important to me. About 11 years ago, you know, I started the TV show with the two twin boys, Dominic and Dante Morris. I wish Dominic and Dante can be here. We started Morris League Baseball at Sac State because Dominic and Dante did not make Sacramento State's baseball team. As far as I'm concerned, Dominic Morris is probably one of the best center fielders I've ever seen come out of Sacramento in a long time. They didn't let that stop them. They ended up, these two entrepreneurs decided to create a baseball league of their own on campus but they weren't able to get anywhere. A gentleman by the name of John Smith, who the field is now named after, told them that they should be introduced to me. I met these two guys, and we've taken off from there. In 2008, we did our very first Honorary Negro League game. We had Mr. Elmer Carter and Don Porter. Elmer Carter was Satchel Paige's catcher at the Kansas City Monarchs. He passed away 2 days before his 100th birthday 4 years ago. So every year, this event here is a tribute to Mr. Elmer Carter. Mr. Elmer Carter, once he was done playing with the Monarchs and he moved back to Sacramento, he had a very hard time trying to find a home. He couldn't buy a house. There wasn't a single bank in Sacramento that would give this man a loan. So what did this man do? He opened up his own bank. He was able to apply loans to the black and the minorities in the Sacramento area so they can afford homes, so they can get a house, and so they can live with something over their head and to have the pride of being a homeowner and the security in their life. And I just need to say, Elmer, thank you very much. Your legend will live forever. So that's what brought me to this gentleman here. Dominic and Dante and I said, you know, there's a place in Kansas City, Missouri called the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. We should go out there and see if they would want to talk. And Dominic got on the phone, and lo and behold, Bob Kendrick answered the phone. He was like, hey, this is Dominic and Dante Morris. We told him the whole spiel. He invited us out. We flew out to Kansas City, Missouri. We interviewed him. He took us on a private tour. You got to go out to the museum because if he's there, he will take you on that tour. Whether him or Roy Doswell, either one of them, they will definitely take you on the tour. It is the best thing ever. So can I please welcome friend and family, Mr. Bob Kendrick.
That Jerry Manuel was distracting me. And speaking of Jerry Manuel, he was our first recipient of the C.I. Taylor Manager of the Year Award. And man, that was back in 2000, I believe it was. And have Dusty Baker, Jerry Royster, Jerry Manuel, men who were leading other men in this sport is tremendously significant, because sometimes lost in this whole story of the Negro Leagues, because it's so easy to fall in love with these legendary athletes who overcame tremendous adversity to play the game that they love, that you do forget those great managers who were a part of that game. You know, I'll never forget Dusty. Buck O'Neil says the first time he saw your guy and my guy, Henry Aaron, they're down in Mobile, Alabama, playing in a spring training game, the Kansas City Monarchs against the Indianapolis Clowns. And the Clowns manager was a guy named Buster Hayward. Great manager. Well, Buck said I knew all the players on the Clowns team. But when he goes out to exchange lineup cards, he sees batting in the 3-hole this kid named Aaron. And he said, Buster, tell me about this kid Aaron. And he said, Buster Hayward let out a big grin. He said, oh, Buck, you got to see him. Well, Buck said, okay, well, we'll see what this kid Aaron got. And Buck said, by the end of the day, that kid Aaron had gone 4 for 4 with 2 home runs. And he said they were sitting down at dinner that night. And he said, well, Buster, I ain't gonna have to worry about that kid Aaron by the time you get to Kansas City. He said, what you talking about, Buck? Someone's gonna sign him. And true enough, 3 months later, the Boston Braves signed the legendary Henry Aaron. He was 18 years old, playing for the Indianapolis Clowns. And I know we got a team tomorrow that'll be wearing those Clown uniforms. Henry Aaron was 18 years old, playing for the Indianapolis Clowns, a skinny, cross-handed, hitting shortstop at that time. And so he was indeed hitting with his left hand on top. And he was burning that ball up.
He was burning it up. And I always, anytime I talk about Henry Aaron, I get excited because he's my all-time favorite baseball player and my childhood idol as a kid growing up in Crawfordville, Georgia, about 80 miles east of Atlanta, 50 miles west of Augusta, right off of Interstate 20. And y'all, every day on the playground, I wanted to be Henry Aaron. Matter of fact, every day on the playground, I was Henry Aaron. And I'm sure there were some other kids that wanted to be Henry Aaron, but I had to be Henry Aaron. And I finally get the opportunity to take him on a tour of the Negro Leagues Museum in 1999, 25 years ago. And of course, this year marks the 50th anniversary of him breaking Babe Ruth's record. And so when he hits home run 715, and we all know the story about this dude being on deck. When he hits home run 715 in Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, I'm at home in my mother's living room in Crawfordville, Georgia. And as Mr. Aaron is circling the bases there in Atlanta, Fulton County, I'm circling the bases in my mother's living room. She had an old couch that was first base. The old TV was second base. She had another old couch that was third base. And her recliner was home plate. And as my childhood idol was touching the ball, I'm touching the ball too. And there I was, face to face with him. And I know that's, you've seen this picture. There's a wonderful photograph of him standing at the train station in Mobile, Alabama. And he's about to go leave to go join the Indianapolis Clowns. And he looks at that photograph and he looks at me and he says, Bob, I may have had 2 changes of clothes. That was a small duffel bag right by his foot. He said, I may have had 2 changes of clothes in that bag, $1.50 in my pocket, and a ham sandwich that my mama had made me. Going to go chase that dream. It worked out pretty well for the Hammer. Absolutely. He goes down as one of this game's all-time greatest players. But the thing that I admired about Mr. Aaron, the thing that I admired, Todd, about Willie Mays, and I think it was evident when we got together in Birmingham earlier this year. As great as they were, they never forgot the guys who helped nurture and mentor them. Henry Aaron was 18 years old. Willie Mays was 17 years old. They were kids playing with grown men. And those grown men, contrary to popular belief, there are a lot of folks who say, well, they must have been jealous of those young guys because those guys were past their prime. They weren't going to get that opportunity to go to the show. No, they weren't. They took care of Henry Aaron. They took care of Willie Mays because they wanted to shield them from the harshness of Jim Crow, because they knew that they had an opportunity to get there and that would mean that others would have an opportunity to follow them. So Willie Mays, Henry Aaron, they never forgot where they came from. And it was really important for them to help make sure that those men who preceded them would never be forgotten.
And just to add to that story, once Henry Aaron did go up to the major leagues, that left a spot open for the Indianapolis Clowns. And last year, I brought a couple of ladies on to coach because we did the Newark Eagles, which was owned by Eppa Manley, you know, the first female owner to ever own any sports franchise. And this year we're doing the Indianapolis Clowns because that roster spot that was open was filled by
Tony Stone, the first female to play regularly against the men in the professional baseball league. Tony was followed by 2 other women, Mamie Peanut Johnson and Connie Morgan. Women who competed with and against the men in the 1950s in the Negro Leagues. And it's a very special story. They were all very proud. Mamie Peanut Johnson
was the only one of the ladies that wanted to play in the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. And if you're familiar with that league, that was the inspiration for the hit film, A League of Their Own. And if you ever saw that movie, you might recall there's one scene in the movie where the ball gets loose and this black lady is walking by and she picks it up and she fires it back in. That was the late great Penny Marshall directed that film. That was her tribute to Mamie Peanut Johnson. But Tony Stone, of course, lived and died in the Bay Area. And they were pioneers. They got an opportunity to fulfill that dream of playing professional baseball with and against the men. Todd mentioned Ethel Manley, but there were also 3 other women, and one of them still alive, who owned Negro League teams. Minnie Forbes is still alive, living in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hilda Bolden and Olivia Taylor. These were women who owned Negro League franchises. And I tell my guests all the time, the Negro Leagues gave women an opportunity to do things in this country before this country gave women an opportunity to do things. They didn't care what color you were, and they didn't care what gender you were. Can you play? Do you have something to offer? And as I remind my guests when they walk through the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, that's the way it is supposed to be. And that's why I say the story of the Negro Leagues embodies the American spirit, unlike any story in the annals of American history. Folks, it is everything that America prides itself in being, but it's not there yet. And because it's not there yet, doesn't mean it's not a great country. It just means that there's still work left to be done. And that story, that history that we preserve in Kansas City, our children get to walk through that place, and I do believe that they walk away with a better understanding, and I do think appreciation for why diversity, equity, and inclusion are to be so valuable, and why they are indeed pillars toward building a bridge for tolerance and respect, because that is where we're still trying to grow as a society, and it's all seen inside that story of the Negro Leagues. These courageous athletes, when it's all said and done, they just wanted to play ball. Yeah, they didn't know they were making history. They didn't care about making history. They just wanted to play ball. And as Buck O'Neil would say, we could play. And they could indeed play.
So what I would like to do is bring up a very special man into the community. You know, he played for 19 years. He managed for 24. He's a 2-time World Series champion, one as a player and one as a manager. 2-time All-Star, 3-time Manager of the Year, the man that created the high five, the calmest, the coolest man you'll ever meet. No matter where he goes, he makes the team, the organization, and the players better. Mr. Dusty Baker.
Good to see you. And I echo everything that Todd said. I mean, your impact on the game, and I don't know if you've ever had a chance yet to even think about legacy. I know you just recently retired, but when you young but when you formally announced your retirement, I posted something on social media, and I meant it sincerely, that Dusty Baker is one of the most important people in baseball history. Because when you go back, and I think eventually you have a chance to reflect on this, anytime that your career allows you to carry Satchel Paige's fishing pole, to be on deck when Henry Aaron hits home run 715, win a World Series as a player, win a World Series as a manager, and you do those things with such grace, class, and dignity. There's no question that your impact on the game has been felt and will be felt for a long time.
Yeah, well, thank you, Bob. I mean, baseball isn't something that I wanted to play. I mean, I was chosen to me by the Lord to play baseball because I said my prayers the night before the draft, and I didn't know whether I would play football, basketball, run track, and I had a number of scholarship offers out of high school, and not one in baseball. And so it was a situation where my parents got divorced my senior year in high school, and economic folks were off the wheel. And so again, I said my prayers. I said, Lord, please, just don't let me get drafted by the Atlanta Braves. You know, I don't want to go to the South. You know, the South back then, I mean, it was rough. I mean, there was Lester Maddox and what's his name from Alabama? Yeah, all of George Wallace. I mean, you know, they would lynch your brothers, throwing them in the swamps, and it's like, you know, dogs and fire hoses, and I was like, Lord, please, I don't want to go down there. Plus, being in the 1967, you know, we was about peace and love or else militancy in Berkeley. And my dad, the one place he didn't want me to go was Berkeley. Because, you know, I was easily influenced. I came from Riverside, California. People up here think that I'm from Carmichael. I ain't from Carmichael. I'm from Riverside, California. And in Riverside was the most eclectic 50,000 pounds in America. We had black, Mexican, Japanese, we had everybody. I tell people I'm a black Mexican. I cook Mexican, I speak Spanish and Neal. And so I was drafted by the Atlanta Braves, and Hank Aaron promised my mom that he would take care of me as if I was his son, if I signed. And if I had enough confidence in my ability to get to the big leagues by the time I was 21, if my class had graduated from college, to sign. If not, then you go to school. And so I signed in LA. My hero was Tommy Davis, who played with the Braves, and how many kids end up wearing their hero's uniform and playing his position, batting, you know, he batted in the order. But that came later. But what came first was the fact that Henry Aaron, we just call him the Hammer. I mean, he took me, he made me go to church. You know, he made me not hang out in the club, because you know, you 18, 19 years old, you know, you want to go to the club. Weren't you with me, Jerry? But like I said, in between he, Ralph Garr, who taught me how to act in the South and maintain your dignity as a man, but also don't be a fool because you get your head beat in. And Cito Gaston. And Cito Gaston took care of me. We all had somebody to take care of. Everybody up here has come up here and talked about how somebody took care of me. And we didn't originate it. Especially the old black players took care of us. We go to New York. We go to dinner with the black stars. We go to Pittsburgh. We go to dinner with all the black stars are there, and the Latin guys. And the coolest dude, the one dude who had all the brothers over to his house, was Pete Rose. Maybe that's why they don't like Pete Rose. But like I said, I was very, very fortunate. I've been blessed. I had a coach when I got to LA, Jim Gillian, Judy Gillian, and he took me over to Cool Papa Bell's house, you know, for lunch. All the black Negro stars that would come to New York, Chicago, Double Duty Radcliffe, they all come to see Hank Aaron, but then they always wanted to see me because Hank Aaron would tell them about me. And I remember I use this to this day. I mean, for you young guys, talking to Billy Williams. Billy Williams said that in Chicago, everybody would come to see Ernie Banks, but they go home talking about Billy Williams. So I told my son, I tell all you young dudes, they might come here to see me, but in your mind and in your heart, you want them to go home talking about you. And the fact is, you got to remember that somebody's always watching. And that one person watching you could be the person that gives you your break in life. Okay? And stand out for the wrong reasons, not the wrong reasons.
not hustling, not being good time Charlie. Anybody here know who good time Charlie is?
They don't know that.
Explain Charlie. Charlie's that guy that's always messing around and stopping somebody else from doing their work.
Yep.
Okay, so my tip to you, pay attention. Okay, the biggest tip that I got as a manager was Tony Russo, my arch enemy. But he played with me on the Braves, and he told me, he said, Justin, never miss a pitch. Whether I'm drinking water, whether I'm tying my shoe, no matter what, I didn't miss a pitch because you might miss something in the ball game. You can pick up something. And Hank Aaron used to always tell me, hey man, you see this? And I'll be like, you know, the pitcher is up here, fire over here is this man. He looked through his hands and he looked through the bill of his cap. He didn't see it, the little hole. And he said, do you see it? I said, well, yeah, Hank, I see it. I didn't see nothing. And so he knew I didn't see nothing. But he told me, he said, look, son, I know you don't see what you say you see. But my tip to you is to retain what somebody's telling you, because at some point in time in your life, you might have to call upon that you got to retain. And I remember one day, Ozzie Smith, Hank Aaron had just told me 5 years, it took me 5 years to learn it. He says, watch, wasn't Ozzie Smith at that time. He said, watch the shortstop. He goes, he gonna move right before the pitch. It's gonna be a breaking ball. So finally I saw, after 5 years, I saw Ozzie move over in that hole. I said, here comes a breaking ball. I hit down the ballpark the next day. They asked me, they said, well, Dusty, you know, Pete Google, they said, man, how'd you hit that pitch? And Hank Aaron also told me, see, you guys now want to brag. Oh man, you know, I'm looking for it. And he put it to me. Hank said, tell him I was lucky. He hung it. And he probably didn't really want to throw that pitch. Guess what? He's going to throw it again. Now I got 2 more.
I mean, those are the nuances of the game that veteran ball player, they just simply understood.
But you know something? I didn't really see all this until I hurt my leg. And I couldn't run anymore. The speed was my thing. I hurt my leg playing basketball against the Manuel boys at Del Campo High School. And I didn't fall in love with the game until it was almost taken away from me. Don't wait until something's almost taken away from you before you fall in love with the game. You see, once you fall in love with something and you fall in love with the game, then you will forever see that. Once you see it, got it. That's just like hunting. You guys hunting? Anybody hunting there? Anybody deer hunting here? Nobody? Anybody deer eating here? Just like these deer hunting. If he doesn't move, as soon as he flicks his ear, I got it. You can't camouflage him the same way in life. Okay, we're all gonna make mistakes. Just don't make your mistakes like this. Stay pretty close to the line. We're all gonna make mistakes. Because it ain't no fun just walking the line. Okay, but it ain't no fun ending up in jail either. Okay, making mistakes. So separate yourself. If somebody else want to take you over here, over there, do your own. Okay, the Lord will take care of you. And above all, without the Lord, I would not be sitting in this chair right here. Because I wouldn't have been Mr. Kendrick. I wouldn't have been. There's some bad boys coming here out of Sacramento. One of the best, I ain't gonna tell no lie.